What happens when two of women's basketball's biggest stars step away from the court and into one of the hottest challenges on the internet? That's exactly what happened when Aaliyah Edwards and Paige Bueckers sat down for Hot Ones Versus, and fans got to see a completely different side of their personalities. Most people know them for their incredible performances on the basketball court, their competitiveness, their leadership, and their ability to shine under pressure. But this time, there were no game-winning shots, no packed arenas, no championship trophies on the line. Instead, there were spicy wings, hilarious questions, unexpected confessions, and a battle that quickly became much more entertaining than anyone expected. Right from the opening moments, it was obvious this wasn't going to be an ordinary interview. The chemistry between Paige and Aaliyah immediately stood out. They laughed. They teased each other. They challenged one another. And as the spice levels kept increasing, so did the reactions. Fans watching couldn't get enough. Some were amazed by how calm Paige stayed. Others couldn't stop laughing at Aaliyah's priceless expressions as the heat intensified. But the real surprise wasn't just the wings. It was everything the two basketball stars revealed while trying to survive them. From funny stories and behind-the-scenes memories to playful trash talk and unexpected answers, viewers got a rare glimpse into one of women's basketball's most entertaining friendships. By the end of the challenge, social media was flooded with reactions. Fans debated who handled the spice better, who delivered the funniest moments, and who truly won the showdown. So, did Paige Bueckers prove she's as clutch off the court as she is on it? Did Aaliyah Edwards steal the show with her hilarious reactions? Or did both stars give fans one of the most entertaining basketball crossovers of the year? Stay tuned, because we're breaking down every unforgettable moment from this viral Hot Ones Versus episode. The moment this episode was announced, basketball fans knew they were in for something special. Not because it was another interview, not because it featured two talented athletes, but because it brought together two players whose friendship has fascinated fans for years. On one side sat Paige Bueckers, known for her incredible court vision, calm confidence, and ability to deliver in the biggest moments. Whether she was leading her team through pressure-packed games or making impossible plays look effortless, Paige had built a reputation as one of the brightest stars in women's basketball. Across from her was Aaliyah Edwards, a player celebrated for her energy, toughness, and infectious personality. Fans admired her relentless effort on the court, but they also loved the joy she brought to every interview and interaction. Now, instead of competing for points, rebounds, or championships, they faced an entirely different challenge. Spicy wings. Ridiculously spicy wings. The rules sounded simple. Answer questions. Eat progressively hotter wings. Try not to lose control. But anyone who has watched Hot Ones knows that things rarely stay simple for long. As the cameras started rolling, both players appeared relaxed. They smiled. They laughed. They joked with each other before the first question was even asked. Right away, viewers could tell this wasn't going to feel like a formal interview. It felt like two close friends hanging out. That authenticity immediately became one of the episode's biggest strengths. Instead of carefully rehearsed answers, fans were getting genuine reactions, real conversations, real laughter, and eventually, real pain from the hot sauce. The first wing arrived. Neither player looked intimidated. Paige casually picked it up as though she were preparing for a normal meal. Aaliyah smiled confidently, clearly believing she could handle whatever came next. The opening bite produced almost no reaction. Both players continued talking naturally. The questions focused on basketball, friendships, and memories from their years together. It quickly became obvious just how much respect they had for one another. Whenever one player spoke, the other listened carefully. Whenever one shared a funny memory, both burst into laughter. That chemistry wasn't something viewers could fake. It had clearly been built over years of competing together, practicing together, and experiencing some of the biggest moments of their basketball careers. Fans loved seeing that side of them. On television and during games, athletes often appear serious, focused, locked in, determined. But moments like this remind audiences they're also regular people who enjoy joking with friends and laughing about old stories. As more questions arrived, viewers learned interesting details about their personalities. Some questions were lighthearted. Others required quick thinking. And a few forced both players to make difficult choices between teammates, favorite memories, and hypothetical situations. Every answer seemed to create another funny moment. Sometimes Paige would hesitate before answering. Other times Aaliyah immediately jumped in with a response that made everyone laugh. Their different personalities complemented each other perfectly. Paige often came across as calm and thoughtful. She carefully considered her answers before speaking. Aaliyah, meanwhile, brought spontaneous energy. Her reactions were expressive. Her facial expressions became entertainment on their own. Together, they created a balance that kept the conversation moving naturally. It wasn't long before social media clips from the episode began spreading. Fans weren't only talking about basketball anymore. They were talking about personalities, friendship, humor, and the chemistry between two athletes who clearly enjoyed spending time together. One of the biggest reasons the episode resonated with viewers was because it showed something rarely seen during traditional sports interviews. Instead of focusing entirely on statistics or recent games, the conversation highlighted who these players were beyond basketball, what made them laugh, how they interacted, the small habits and inside jokes that only close friends understand. That kind of content helps fans connect with athletes on a completely different level. As another wing arrived, the spice level increased slightly. Still, neither player appeared overly concerned. Paige maintained her calm expression. Aaliyah confidently reached for another bite. But viewers familiar with hot ones knew exactly what was coming. The real challenge hadn't even started. That's what made the early rounds so entertaining. There was a sense of anticipation. Everyone watching understood the heat would eventually become overwhelming. The only question was, who would crack first? Would it be Paige, known for staying composed under pressure, or Aaliyah, whose hilarious reactions were already becoming one of the highlights of the episode? The suspense kept building. Meanwhile, the questions continued getting more personal. The conversation shifted toward basketball memories, favorite teammates, biggest challenges, moments that shaped their careers. Rather than giving short answers, both players shared thoughtful stories that revealed just how much work had gone into reaching the highest levels of the sport. They spoke about sacrifice, about learning from losses, about pushing each other to improve. Those moments reminded viewers that success isn't built overnight. Behind every highlight reel are thousands of unseen hours in the gym. Early mornings, late nights, practices nobody remembers. Those experiences created the bond audiences were witnessing throughout the interview. The discussion eventually turned playful again. Each player began teasing the other. Friendly jokes quickly became one of the episode's biggest attractions. Fans loved seeing the competitive side emerge, even while eating hot wings. Neither player wanted to admit defeat. Not even when the questions became more challenging. Not even when the spice slowly began making its presence known. Subtle reactions started appearing. A quick sip of water, a deeper breath, a slight pause before answering. The heat was beginning to work. Even though both athletes tried to hide it, viewers could tell things were changing. The smiles remained. The jokes continued. But now every bite required a little more effort. That gradual progression made the episode incredibly engaging. Rather than exploding immediately, the challenge slowly built tension. Every new wing raised the stakes. Every question became slightly harder to answer while dealing with increasing heat. And every reaction became more entertaining than the last. By now, fans were completely invested. Who would survive longer without showing weakness? Who would deliver the funniest reaction? And what surprising stories would still emerge before the hottest wings arrived? Those questions kept viewers glued to the screen. Because if the first few rounds were already this entertaining, everyone knew the best moments were still ahead. In Part 2, the spice reaches another level as Paige and Aaliyah struggle to stay composed. Hilarious confessions begin slipping out, and one unforgettable reaction leaves fans laughing across social media. As the challenge moved into the middle rounds, the atmosphere in the room began to change. The confidence both players showed at the beginning was still there, but now it was being tested. Each new wing came coated in an even hotter sauce. Each bite lingered a little longer, and each question suddenly became much harder to answer. Paige Bueckers still tried to maintain her trademark composure. She smiled. She laughed. She answered each question carefully. But viewers could already notice subtle signs that the heat was beginning to affect her. She reached for her drink more often. She paused before speaking. She took a deep breath after every bite. Across the table, Aaliyah Edwards was experiencing the same battle. At first, she tried to play it cool. She joked that everything was still under control. But her facial expressions quickly became one of the funniest parts of the episode. Every time another wing arrived, fans waited to see her reaction. Sometimes she laughed. Sometimes she shook her head. Sometimes she stared at the wing for a few extra seconds before finally taking the bite. That hesitation alone had viewers laughing. The chemistry between the two friends only made everything more entertaining. Whenever one player struggled, the other couldn't resist teasing her. Paige would smile as Aaliyah reacted dramatically to the spice. Moments later, Aaliyah would return the favor when Paige reached for another sip of water. It wasn't mean-spirited. It was exactly how close friends interact. The playful banter gave fans a rare glimpse into their relationship away from basketball. One question asked them to recall some of the funniest moments they had shared during their playing careers. Almost immediately, both started laughing before either could answer. That alone told viewers the memory was a good one. As they began telling the story, they kept interrupting each other, not because they disagreed, but because they were both excited to explain what happened. The laughter became contagious. Even the host couldn't help smiling. Moments like that reminded everyone why athletes showing their personalities has become so popular. Fans don't just admire talent. They enjoy authenticity. And this episode was filled with authentic moments. The hotter the wings became, the more genuine every reaction felt. There was no pretending, no acting, no scripted emotion. Just two elite athletes trying to survive one incredibly spicy challenge. Then came another memorable question. This time, they had to describe each other using only a few words. Paige smiled before answering. She talked about Aaliyah's energy, her positivity, her competitive spirit. She explained that one of Aaliyah's greatest strengths was her ability to lift everyone around her, whether during practice or on game day. Aaliyah listened with a huge smile. When it was her turn, she described Paige as one of the most driven people she had ever met. She praised Paige's work ethic, her leadership, and her determination to improve every single day. It was a heartfelt exchange that fans immediately appreciated. Instead of focusing only on jokes, the conversation highlighted the deep respect they had for one another. That respect had clearly been earned through years of hard work together. But the emotional moment didn't last long. Another hotter wing arrived. Both players looked at it, then looked at each other. Without saying a word, they both started laughing. It was almost as if they already knew what was about to happen. The next bite changed everything. The heat hit almost instantly. Paige's eyes widened. Aaliyah leaned back in her chair. Both reached for their drinks at nearly the same time. For the first time in the episode, neither could hide what they were feeling. The room filled with laughter. Even while struggling through the heat, they kept joking with each other. Aaliyah teased Paige for trying to stay calm. Paige laughed and reminded Aaliyah that she wasn't looking much better herself. Fans absolutely loved the exchange. Clips of that moment quickly spread across social media. Many viewers commented that this was one of the funniest Hot Ones versus episodes they had seen. Others pointed out how refreshing it was to see professional athletes laughing instead of taking themselves too seriously. As the challenge continued, the questions became more creative. One asked which teammate would be the funniest roommate. Another focused on who talked the most during practice. Those answers sparked even more stories. Some involved unforgettable road trips. Others centered on funny locker room moments. The audience learned that many of the strongest friendships in sports are built during ordinary moments away from the spotlight. Long bus rides, practice sessions, travel days, team dinners. Those experiences create bonds that fans rarely get to see. The conversation eventually shifted toward competition. Who was more competitive? Neither player hesitated. Both immediately pointed at each other. The room erupted in laughter. They admitted that everything between them could become a competition. Video games, practice drills, card games, even simple conversations sometimes turned into playful challenges. That competitive mindset, they explained, helped make both of them better players. When surrounded by teammates who constantly push each other, improvement becomes almost inevitable. As inspiring as those stories were, the wings continued getting hotter. Every few minutes, another bottle of increasingly intense hot sauce appeared. The confidence from the beginning of the episode had completely disappeared. Now survival was the only goal. Paige closed her eyes after one especially spicy bite. Aaliyah fanned her face while laughing uncontrollably. The audience couldn't stop smiling. Their reactions weren't exaggerated. They were simply honest. And honesty always connects with viewers. The comment section quickly filled with fans picking favorites. Some believed Paige handled the spice better. Others insisted Aaliyah's hilarious reaction stole the show. Many simply declared both players winners because of how entertaining the episode had become. By this point, one thing was obvious. This wasn't just about spicy food anymore. It had become a celebration of friendship. A reminder that even elite athletes enjoy laughing, joking, and challenging each other outside of competition. The basketball court may have introduced them to fans, but this interview allowed people to appreciate who they are beyond the game. Still, everyone watching knew the hardest part hadn't arrived yet. The hottest wings were still waiting. And if the current sauces were already producing reactions like these, what would happen when they reached the final rounds? Would Paige finally lose her cool? Would Aaliyah somehow survive the impossible heat? Or would both players completely fall apart as the challenge reached its unforgettable conclusion? One thing was certain. The funniest and most intense moments of the entire episode were still to come. In Part 3, the hottest wings finally arrive, emotions run high, hilarious reactions go viral, and one unforgettable moment has fans replaying the episode again and again. By the time the final rounds arrived, both Aaliyah Edwards and Paige Bueckers knew exactly what was waiting for them. The easy part was over. Every bottle of hot sauce now carried a reputation. Some had challenged celebrities. Others had made professional athletes tap out. And a few had become legendary for pushing even the toughest competitors to their limits. As the next wing was placed in front of them, both players stared at it for a moment. Neither rushed to pick it up. Paige smiled nervously. Aaliyah laughed and jokingly asked if it was too late to quit. The room immediately burst into laughter. Even before taking another bite, everyone could feel the tension building. This wasn't basketball. There was no game plan, no timeout, no coach calling a play. It was simply two elite athletes preparing for one of the spiciest moments of their lives. Finally, they counted down together. 3, 2, 1. Both took a bite. For a second, nothing happened. Then almost instantly, everything changed. Paige's eyes widened. She leaned back in her chair and let out a laugh that quickly turned into disbelief. Across the table, Aaliyah couldn't stop smiling, but it was obvious the heat had arrived. She grabbed her drink without saying a word. The host couldn't help laughing. It was the reaction everyone had been waiting for. For the first time in the episode, both players were completely focused on surviving the spice. The next question was asked anyway. Both laughed before anyone could even finish reading it. Trying to answer while their mouths were on fire proved nearly impossible. Paige attempted to speak first. She paused halfway through her sentence, started laughing, took another sip of water, then tried again. Aaliyah couldn't stop laughing at Paige's struggle. Moments later, the situation completely flipped. When Aaliyah started answering, she had the exact same problem. Every few words were interrupted by laughter. The conversation became chaotic in the best possible way. Fans watching at home loved every second. The comment sections quickly filled with messages like, "This is the funniest basketball interview I've ever watched. Their friendship makes this episode so much better. I haven't laughed this hard in a long time." One reason the episode resonated with so many people was its authenticity. Nothing felt forced. Neither player was trying to create viral moments. They were simply reacting honestly. And sometimes, Those genuine reactions become the moments audiences remember most. As the challenge continued, another question shifted the conversation back toward basketball. They were asked about pressure, specifically, how they handled expectations during big games. Even while fighting through the heat, both athletes managed to share meaningful insights. Paige explained that preparation builds confidence. When you've spent countless hours practicing, trusting your work becomes easier during pressure-filled moments. Aaliyah agreed. She added that confidence also comes from teammates. Knowing everyone has prepared together allows players to focus on the game instead of worrying about mistakes. It was one of the most thoughtful moments in the interview. Despite the hot sauce making every answer more difficult, neither player stopped showing respect for the game they love. Then came another wing. This one carried an even hotter reputation. Before eating it, both looked at each other again. Neither seemed excited, but neither wanted to back down. That's the competitive mindset elite athletes share. Even during a fun interview, quitting isn't the first option. They picked up the wings. Another countdown began. Another bite followed. This time, the reaction was immediate. Paige covered her face with one hand. Aaliyah leaned forward, shaking her head while laughing uncontrollably. Neither could believe how intense the heat had become. The host smiled and calmly continued asking questions. That only made everything funnier. The players desperately tried to answer while their mouths felt like they were on fire. At one point, Paige admitted she couldn't even remember the original question. Everyone laughed. Moments like that quickly became fan favorites online. Short clips spread across social media within hours. Some highlighted Paige trying to stay composed. Others focused on Aaliyah's priceless facial expressions. Fans debated who handled the spice better, but most agreed there wasn't really a loser. Both athletes had delivered one of the most entertaining crossover interviews of the year. As the conversation continued, they reflected on their friendship. They spoke about encouraging one another, supporting each other's careers, celebrating successes, learning from setbacks. Those comments reminded viewers that competition doesn't prevent friendship. In fact, many great athletes become close because they understand the sacrifices each other makes. That mutual respect was obvious throughout the interview. Every joke came from friendship. Every compliment felt genuine. Every laugh showed how comfortable they were together. Eventually, the final wing appeared. The famous last challenge. The one every guest remembers. Both players looked at it in complete disbelief. Aaliyah jokingly asked why they had agreed to do this. Paige laughed and admitted she had been asking herself the same question. Still, neither backed away. They picked up the final wing, counted down one last time, and took the biggest bite of the day. Within seconds, both players were overwhelmed. Water, milk, deep breaths, laughter. Everything happened at once. The room filled with energy as everyone watched them battle through the final challenge. It wasn't about winning anymore. It was about finishing. And somehow, they did. Despite the unbelievable heat, both completed the challenge. The applause that followed wasn't just for surviving spicy wings. It was for delivering an interview fans would remember for a long time. Social media quickly celebrated the episode. Viewers praised the chemistry between Paige and Aaliyah. Others called it one of the best Hot Ones versus episodes because it perfectly balanced humor, friendship, and meaningful conversation. For basketball fans, it offered something unique. Instead of watching highlight plays, they watched personalities shine. Instead of statistics, they saw genuine friendship. Instead of competition, they witnessed two athletes enjoying each other's company while taking on an unforgettable challenge. And perhaps that's why the episode connected with so many people. Because beyond championships and trophies, moments like these remind everyone why sports matter. They create friendships. They create memories. And sometimes, they create hilarious moments involving incredibly spicy chicken wings. Stay tuned for part 4, where we'll break down the biggest fan reactions, the funniest viral moments from social media, and why this interview became one of the most talked about crossover videos featuring Paige Bueckers and Aaliyah Edwards. As the episode came to an end, one thing was obvious. This wasn't just another celebrity interview. It wasn't just another challenge involving spicy wings. It became a reminder of why fans connect with athletes beyond what they accomplish on the basketball court. Throughout the entire episode, Paige Bueckers and Aaliyah Edwards showed a side of themselves that many fans rarely get to see. There were no game plans, no post-game press conferences, no discussions about statistics or championships. Instead, viewers saw two close friends laughing, teasing each other, sharing memories, and trying their best to survive one of the hottest food challenges on the internet. That authenticity became the biggest reason the episode resonated with audiences. Within hours of its release, clips from the interview began spreading across social media. Fans reposted their favorite moments. Reaction videos appeared almost immediately. Comment sections filled with laughter, praise, and friendly debates over who handled the spice better. Some believed Paige deserved the win. They pointed to her calm demeanor and how she managed to stay composed even as the sauces became increasingly intense. Others argued that Aaliyah stole the show. Her facial expressions, quick jokes, and non-stop laughter became some of the most replayed moments from the episode. But many viewers reached a different conclusion. There didn't need to be a winner. The real victory was watching two elite athletes simply enjoy each other's company. In today's sports world, fans often see athletes during the most stressful moments imaginable. Championship games, pressure-packed interviews, trade rumors, injury updates. Those moments matter, but they don't tell the whole story. Episodes like this remind everyone that behind every jersey is a real person with a unique personality, a sense of humor, and friendships that extend far beyond the game itself. That human connection is what made this episode stand out. Another reason fans embraced the interview was because it highlighted how much women's basketball has grown. Not long ago, opportunities like this were far less common. Today, WNBA stars and top women's basketball players are appearing in mainstream content that reaches audiences well beyond traditional sports fans. That's a huge step forward for the game. Programs like Hot Ones Versus allow athletes to introduce themselves to people who may never have watched a basketball game before. Someone might click because they're curious about the spicy challenge. By the end of the episode, they're also learning about the athletes, their personalities, and their journeys. That's powerful. It's one of the reasons women's basketball continues attracting new fans every year. The personalities are just as compelling as the competition. Paige and Aaliyah proved exactly that. They didn't need highlight reels to entertain people. Their conversation alone was enough. Their friendship carried the episode from beginning to end. Throughout the interview, one theme continued appearing again and again: respect. Every joke came from friendship. Every compliment came from genuine admiration. Every laugh reflected years of shared experiences on and off the court. That's something fans immediately recognized. In an era where online conversations often focus on rivalries and controversy, it was refreshing to watch two athletes celebrate each other's success instead. Many viewers described the episode as wholesome. Others called it one of the most enjoyable basketball interviews released this year. Some even admitted they wanted an entire series featuring Paige and Aaliyah taking on different challenges together. The chemistry was simply that good. As the final credits rolled, social media continued buzzing. Favorite moments were clipped and shared across platforms. Some fans replayed Aaliyah's funniest reactions. Others couldn't stop laughing at Paige's attempts to stay calm while clearly feeling the effects of the hottest sauces. The memes arrived quickly. So did the GIFs. Before long, the interview had become one of the most talked about crossover moments involving women's basketball players. That kind of attention benefits everyone. It helps introduce new audiences to the sport. It gives athletes another platform to showcase their personalities. And it reminds longtime fans why they enjoy supporting these players in the first place. Looking back, the episode wasn't really about spicy food. It wasn't about surviving hot sauce. It wasn't even about determining who won the challenge. It was about friendship. It was about authenticity. And it was about showing that some of the best moments in sports happen when athletes simply get the chance to be themselves. Paige Bueckers and Aaliyah Edwards accomplished exactly that. They made people laugh. They shared meaningful stories. They celebrated one another. And they created an interview that fans will likely remember long after the last wing was eaten. as both continue building impressive basketball careers. Moments like this only strengthen their connection with supporters around the world. Because championships create legends. Highlights create memories. But genuine personalities create lifelong fans. And judging by the overwhelming reaction online, Paige Bueckers and Aaliyah Edwards gained plenty of new fans through one unforgettable episode of Hot Ones vs. Their competitive spirit, their friendship, their humor, and their willingness to embrace every challenge made this far more than just another interview. It became one of the most entertaining basketball crossovers of the year. What did you think? Who handled the spicy wings better, Paige Bueckers or Aaliyah Edwards? Who had the funniest reactions? And which moment made you laugh the hardest? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and share it with other basketball fans. Subscribe for more WNBA news, player interviews, viral moments, highlights, and exclusive basketball content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.